Florida State quarterback Christian Ponder's 09 season numbers had many thinking one thing.
As a kid, you kind of always grow up as maybe dreaming about winning the Heisman, and it's just a cool experience. And we'll see what happens. We definitely have to win some games. I mean, I think the Heisman Trophy is more of like a team award because you don't win games, you're not even be thought about as a candidate.
Takes a snap, number 7 drops the throw, blitz coming, fires, intercepted, inside the field, at the 25, out to the 20. Killer all season long. Ponder lofts one, that's intercepted by Maxwell. And I don't know where he was going with that one. Ponder throws left side, it's intercepted to the 30. This one run back to the 10, to the 5, runs over Ponder, DeAndre McDaniel, a Tallahassee kid. And that's just about gonna do it. Could be the dagger with 3:34.
Christian Ponder suffered a season-ending shoulder injury with that tackle, ending his season with a game in which he threw more interceptions in than the entire season. But he would be back.
It's 9 o'clock.
For a kid whose father, David Earl Ponder, played for the Dallas Cowboys in the National Football League, you would expect Christian to be able to play at any position he pleased based on his father's influence on his Pop Warner coach. However, it was never an easy road to becoming a star quarterback.
I played 1 year when I was like 8 years old and actually quit halfway through the season because I hated it. I didn't enjoy football at all and dropped it. I was like an offensive lineman, and I always wanted to play quarterback. So I kind of always grew up around the game of football, and as you grow up and you really start to understand the game, and I kind of fell in love with it, and it was that's kind of when in the middle school and the early high school years is kind of when I formed this dream of playing at Florida State and playing the NFL, and just started to push myself.
And push himself he did. During his junior and senior years at Colleyville's Heritage High School, Ponder passed for 3,714 yards and 20 touchdowns, becoming the 59th ranked quarterback in the nation. ESPN Scouts, Inc. evaluated Ponder as a sleeper in the 2006 class who gets better the more you watch him. Schools around the nation such as Arizona, UTEP, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina State noticed and wanted him. But he wanted to be a no just like his father was before him.
My dad's always been my biggest influence. He's pushed me in everything I've done, football-wise, academics, I mean anything. He's always pushed me the best at anything I do.
Another person with great influence on Ponder has been FSU head coach Jimbo Fisher, who started as FSU's offensive coordinator during Ponder's freshman year. Although Ponder was coming off an injury and backup quarterback E.J. Manuel went 3-1 in 4 starts, there was no doubt who would be the starting quarterback heading into the 2010 season, and Ponder was ready to show everyone he was back with something to prove. As preseason predictions were being made, many analysts picked FSU to be the front-runner for the Atlantic Coastal Conference champions. Many considered Ponder as a leading Heisman candidate, and Florida State wanted to help his chances. In July 2010, FSU launched its first online Heisman campaign on CP7 for Heisman.com. But his coach feels the Heisman hype hasn't affected him.
The Heisman is how our team's going to do, and you just got to go do what you do. I'm sure there's probably a little pressure he puts on himself to feel like he's got to always have great numbers, but what'll happen after that, after you get going, you get hit a couple times, you start wanting to win, you forget about all that, and you start playing, all of a sudden the numbers come because the wins and that competitor, and you forget about all that stuff and start competing.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they say yeah. Cause all I do is win, win, win.
It was a day that some felt would be the Seminoles' comeback performance on the national stage, a game to show the world they were back to their 1990s form of dominance. But the Noles were brought back down to earth as they lost to the Oklahoma Sooners in a humbling fashion 47-17 beatdown. National championship hopes and Heisman hype all but disappeared only after the second game of the season.
We struggled and kind of dug ourselves in the hole too deep to get out of. And but the thing is we came back Monday and it was kind of, it was going to be able to respond, one of two ways, whether we're going to feel bad for ourselves and feel down in the dumps and go back and lose that next game, or we're going to come back and work hard, and that's what we did.
It wasn't the end of the world or even the end of the season. Ponder was upset about the game's outcome, but it didn't discourage him. It made him work harder. On the practice field, in the community, and in the classroom. Losses don't affect his performance elsewhere. Well, at least he doesn't show it.
It doesn't really seem to. He comes in, again, well prepared and ready to pay attention and do what he's supposed to do. So I think he knows he's got time, that he's got to get ready to go.
Though he is such a gifted athlete, he is an equally gifted student, earning a bachelor's degree in finance within 2.5 years. He also earned his MBA in business administration and is currently working on his master's in sports management while boasting a 3.7 GPA.
Growing up, academics was always most important in my household. I obviously grew up around an athletic family, but my mom and dad always pushed that academics is number one.
And that academics first attitude rubs off on others.
He can balance really well. And it's really, he helped me because I graduate in 2.5 years. I graduate in December. And I really, owe a lot to him because when he was studying, it kind of made me want to study too.
Balancing is key for Ponder, especially when you throw community service in with football and academics. But it's not a job to him, just his way of giving back.
It's not hard to figure out time to do something, and a lot of people devote their time to help me out, so I always have time to help others out as well.
Me and Ponder both got that help when we were young, and and one thing that we always said to ourselves is remember when we were that young and what we thought and how important it was for having somebody like that come talk to us. So if we want to make them feel the way we were going to feel if the roles were reversed.
I find time to enjoy myself and have fun and go to the movies and go out and everything like that, but it's really about just setting my priorities in the right place and setting goals and everything, and then everything kind of just falls in place and takes care of itself.
He did something for me personally that no student's ever done. And I thought, I didn't even know this award exists. And at the bottom it said, the person who nominated you is Christian Ponder. Students don't do that. They don't do that anymore. Professors write letters and get students scholarships and get them into graduate school and get them jobs, and about 5% ever say thank you. So for him to go out of his way when he didn't have to, and then to come up with a speech during the ceremony, that tells you a lot about him.
Ponder is always wanting to give back to the community for all of its support and encourages others to do the same. As the spokesperson for the Red Cross knows, Ponder works to help save lives, but on the football field, he proves to breathe life into the football team. The Noles went on to win 3 straight in dominating fashion, but the big test would come in the rivalry game against the University of Miami, and the Seminoles did not disappoint. And with that win, the Noles were back. But Ponder's 300-yard passing games weren't, and he didn't care.
I'm just happy to be winning ball games right now, man. I mean, looking back last year, yeah, I was putting up numbers, I was playing well, but we weren't winning games. I'd much rather be where I am right now, and I'm happy. I'm excited for this team, and I love my teammates, and I'm a lot more excited right now than I was last year.
The next week, the Seminoles took on an upset-minded Boston College Eagle team that pushed the Noles to the brink. But Florida State pulled out the victory despite Christian Ponder throwing 3 interceptions. Buzz was back, and a good back half of the season could have brought back the Heisman hype for Ponder. However, it didn't work out that way because less than 2 weeks later, the Seminoles took on ACC rival North Carolina State University Wolfpack. After controlling the game throughout the first half, Florida State gave up the lead at the end of the fourth quarter. They had a chance to win the game, but Ponder fumbled the ball inside the red zone with less than a minute left in the game. The next week, the Seminoles hoped to bounce back against the North Carolina Tar Heels, but missed a last-second field goal that would have clinched the game. 2 back-to-back losses of 4 points or less, but Ponder didn't blame anyone.
I think there's kind of a little bit of disappointment. It was kind of a dream. He was a little kid of winning the Heisman, and it kind of came into the realization that it might happen. I was in the hunt, but obviously I didn't play well enough all year, and battled through a lot of things this year. But I don't really think you can be disappointed for something you've never had. And so, but the good thing is I mean, we've had a successful year, so that kind of softens the blow.
Winning does soften the blow, especially when you beat in-state rivals Miami and Florida in the same year, a feat the Noles haven't accomplished since the 1999 season. FSU finished the regular season 9-3, earning a bid to the ACC championship game, and although Ponder did not win the Heisman Trophy or a national championship, he is still the real FSU Super Nole, and others agree, a trophy does not make you great.
We talk about him and say, all right, he's not throwing for 300 yards. No, he's not. He's playing winning football. He's being unselfish, and he's putting us in the right runs and scrambling and being tough and making third down plays. Because you don't throw for 300 yards don't mean you're not a great quarterback. He's throwing for 200 and someone we're winning, and he's the happiest guy on the football team. And there's a guy that, I mean, I said, if my son grows up to be like him, I'll be the proudest guy in the world because he is the most unselfish player who has great ability that I've really been around. Me, he's phenomenal at what he does.
Christian Ponder was left out of most of the Heisman conversation at the end of the season, but he received plenty of recognition elsewhere. He was one of 16 National Football Foundation Scholar athletes in ESPN All-District Academic Selection, a member of the All-State AFCA Good Works team, and a finalist for the Warfel Award, Unitas Golden Arm Award, and Manning Award, to name a few. He also was a finalist for what is considered to be the academic Heisman, the William V. Campbell Trophy, which is awarded to the nation's top scholar athlete. Ponder is a true student athlete whose compassion for others provides his success.
It's not always about Christian. It's rarely about Christian. It's all the time Christian about doing things for others. And with that spirit, that heart, when I say he's going to be a CEO someday, you put that together with how smart he is and how hard he works, there's no telling.
Picture you living my life, picture you stuck in the cell, picture you wasting your life, picture you facing the charge, picture you being